Get out of here. All right, I'm Ryan. Welcome to the channel. That was Lieutenant Pickles, and got a little story about that. I wanted you to see that though. Okay, so this video is a more in-depth analysis of the characters that we talked about in the last video. Man, I got notes here. Why am I even stopping to think? Okay, so I realized I didn't have all the characters listed out when I was going through that last video. So there's some characters I didn't want to talk about. However, I thought, well, you know what? You've gone this far. You've seen this much. You already know what's in the book pretty much. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you a spoiler alert. Okay, these are spoiler alerts for the most part. I'm not going to give you too many details. However, there are going to be characters that I talk about that could take away some of the surprise in the story. You know, I like the surprise aspect. Okay, I really wanted you to be surprised when you read it. You say, "Oh my gosh, that's in there! Wow!" You know. So I wanted that feeling, but I also thought, well, there's some people that just don't care. Like my son, he watches. Like we went and watched the movie, and he already knew how it ended. I was like, how do you know how this ends? He's like, well, I watched the whole analysis on YouTube. I was like, well, what's the freaking point of watching the movie then? But people like that stuff. All right, now first off, there's two characters I didn't talk about that are not spoiler alerts. One is Leonardo, or Leo for short. Not Leo as in the law enforcement officer, but just Leo. His name's just Leo. He's like this teenager that lives down the street from Pedro, and he's really like, he respects Pedro a lot, and he kind of looks at him like a father figure, and he's really into the Christmas light thing too. He thinks it's cool. He wants to help out. You know, he's like a normal kid. You know, when they see somebody that's passionate about something, kids want to come and help out with that, which is cool. You know, because that's a good way to educate as well. You know, because if you're a teacher and you're in the classroom and you're pumped up about something, the students are going to get pumped up as well. They're going to get excited. They're going to feed into your energy. Okay, so if you're a teacher or you think about teaching or you just want to get some sort of some point across to maybe your own children, or maybe you're some sort of mentor to other kids, or maybe your coworkers. But if you're excited about things, there's a strong chance that those people will get excited with you as well. Okay, it's just energy feeds energy. Now, there's always going to be outliers that are apathetic through the whole process. You know, that's just to be expected. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so Leo, whoa. All right. We almost had ourselves a little disaster. Oh my gosh, let's switch that. Like I said, I'm not editing this thing. All right. So the cat was attacking the camera. Leo, he is the kid down the street, and he wants to help out Pedro. He comes to ask for help. Pedro's like, yeah, come and help me out. Because, you know, Pedro's like, hey, I need some help. This is a big project. He gets Leo to come help out. And they kind of develop a friendship. And Leo starts proving his worth to Pedro. And they got respect for one another. You get the hell out of here. Sorry about that. It's better the cat's not here. I know y'all are probably like, oh, I love the cat. Well, yeah. Give me your address and I'll send them in a box to you. It'll have Meow Mix in it, just like how I got them. All right, that's Leo. The next character, Dr. Willoughby. Dr. Willoughby is a kind of a psychiatrist, maybe like a mental health clinician at the prison. He helps out with, you know, prisoners and a lot of those that have some sort of debilitating kind of mental health situation, whatever that happened to be. I don't get into any of the mental health type stuff. That's not my specialty. Of course, prisons aren't my specialty either, but I think I got a better shot of actually tackling a prison with some sort of description than getting into the field of psychiatry. So Dr. Willoughby, he's just kind of there. He shows up. He's kind of in between the lines. But as the story progresses, he kind of turns into an antagonist throughout the story, which is, you know, somebody that's kind of going against Pedro. And I'll kind of let that play out. So that's Dr. Willoughby. He'll be throughout the whole story. And then, now the spoilers. All right, this is a spoiler. Okay, first off, I told you that there's going to be a little plastic elf, like the elf on the shelf. Remember, it was Originally, that was the main idea. So the elf, which is the elf on the shelf that they get, is called Little Pedro. The girls name him. They call him Little Pedro, and so he's a character in the book. Okay, now you're probably thinking, well, wait a minute, it's an inanimate elf plastic toy. Well, that's kind of the point of the story is the elf actually. There's more to it than just being a toy. The actual elf actually has some sort of behaviors and properties about it that add elements to the story. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. So, Little Pedro, little plastic elf, he's in there. Then we have the grandpas. We got Grandpa Sam and Grandpa Chewy. They're very eccentric. They kind of got their own personalities. You know, they show up in the story, and I'm not going to tell you how or why or what they're doing in the story, but the grandpas are there, and they're Pedro's grandparents, and they're funny. They add some comedy to the story. You know, they kind of show up and they're messing around with things. They're very loving. And you see a lot of dynamics between Pedro and his grandfathers and how they all interact with each other. And, you know, it's just kind of like, again, there's some tension there between them, but it's that loving tension, the tension that's kind of like very constructive as it moves forward. Not destructive, but constructive tension. It's kind of like constructive criticism, which sucks. However, it's an important element of our life. Oh, now we get into the real... We're just going deeper and deeper down a hole here. Okay, so a little bit further into the spoiler is Frankie Espinosa. He's a character that shows up. I can't tell too much about this, but there is a character named Frankie Espinosa. He's in there. He's kind of an important character because he kind of helps translate some languages for the characters. You know, he's providing some comedy relief, kind of let you figure out who Frankie is in the story, because I can't really tell you, because then you'll be like, what? But you just gotta read it. You just gotta trust me on that. And Frankie loves Velveeta cheese and Dr. Peppers. Okay, so that's Frankie's thing. He loves Velveeta and Dr. Pepper. You know, the backbone of America, right? We have another character named Lumpy. If you are diligent, maybe you'll figure out who Lumpy is. Lumpy is an actor or former actor who's disgruntled. He shows up and he's very important because he knows how to get certain things done to help the characters progress. He's kind of like, and he's got an insight on how to move forward with their adventure. It's like he's providing input to them. But it's not necessarily easy because Lumpy doesn't speak the same language as everybody. So that's where they need Frankie to come in to help translate for Lumpy. Okay. Which adds another spoiler alert. Let's see what else we got in here. We got a Dolly Parton lookalike. She shows up. That's right, it's a Dolly Parton lookalike. How can you have a lookalike like Dolly Parton in a story? And you're probably thinking, why in the world did you put Dolly Parton in there? Well, that's a good question. Remember, I told you I was driving to the Smoky Mountains to go to Dollywood and Pigeon Forge, and that was kind of part of the inspiration. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to throw Dolly Parton in. Not actually Dolly Parton, but Dolly Parton lookalike. There's no reason I didn't pick Dolly Parton. It just fit into the story better that it was a Dolly Parton lookalike. Because I just... And you'll see why. Now, however, then there's another character. You might have heard this guy. His name's Barry Manilow, the singer. And it's the real Barry Manilow. Well, by my imagination, it's the real Barry Manilow. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, you listen to Barry Manilow. And you may be thinking, like, I love Barry Manilow. He's so magical. And I would agree with you to some capacity. Okay, I don't listen to Barry Manilow. However, I have seen him in concert. My ex-wife and I went and saw him in concert. It was she loves Barry Manilow, and so I reluctantly went to the concert. I did want to go, and I can tell you this: when he got out there, it was kind of like I was like, "Oh man!" I was like, "He looks old." It's like I hope he can make it till the end of this thing. And I'll tell you what. That old man, he laid it down. I'm telling you what, it was very impressive, man. It's like almost like made a little tear come to my eye. It was so cool. I mean, he laid it down. That guy is impressive. So I got a lot of respect for Barry Manilow. I don't like drive around listening to Barry Manilow trying to get freaking pumped up for stuff. I'm like, you know. What's funny is though there were guys at the concert that are like that. I remember they were sitting there like the guy that was performing before them. He's a jazz musician, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "Are y'all ready for Barry Manilow?" And these old men were behind us. They're like, "You can bet your ass we're ready." I mean, they were pumped up. You thought they were like at a heavy metal concert. It was pretty cool. So Barry Manilow's in the book. There's a funny story about Barry Manilow, and he's because I told you I went to the concert. The concert was so impressive that my ex-wife, she wanted to take all of her moms, or her mom and my mom, to the concert. And so they went and got front row tickets to the next concert. And I think it was up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so they're in the front row. And Barry apparently, probably, I don't know if he canceled after this, but he would bring a person up onto the stage to dance with him on one of his songs. And, you know, he's buying into the audience. He's getting them involved and let everybody think they got a chance to come up there to be with Barry. But you got to remember, my ex-wife, her mom, and my mom, all great people, all three of them great people, they're on the front row. And so Barry decided, and you have to understand, my ex-wife loved Barry Manilow. And my mom, you know, my mom liked him too. So, and actually all of them liked it. Everybody, I mean, if you go to a Barry Manilow concert, you like Barry Manilow, unless you're me. You're just kind of there to kind of help support the situation. And so Barry picked a person out of the audience to come up on the stage, and he picked my mom, of all people, in the entire auditorium, which, I mean, Barry Manilow sells out venues. He doesn't show up at a bowling alley and sings. He shows up at, you know, these giant sports arenas that hold like 10 to 15,000 people and puts on a concert. This isn't me coming out giving a speech. This is Barry freaking Manilow. And he picks my mom of all the people in the world. Of course, my mom, she got a little handsy on him and tried to start kissing him and stuff and just got a little bit out of control. So there's my story. That's how Barry Manilow got in the book, because that inspired me. I thought it was funny. My favorite character in the book, I'm not going to talk about. You will never know who that is unless you read the book. But I guarantee you'll figure it out real fast. That character shows up in the middle of the book, and that's the only part of the book where they're at. But I just love that character. It's like, it speaks to my heart, especially being a computer science teacher. And if you remember that, you'll figure out who it is real fast. Oh, and also Santa Claus does make it to the book. Santa Claus is in the book. I guarantee you can't have a Christmas story without Santa Claus. So Santa Claus is in the book. When I envisioned Santa Claus, when I put him in the book, I thought of Shaquille O'Neal. I put Shaq. Shaq is in my mind when I put him in the book. Now, I don't describe him looking like Shaq, just because I want you to be able to describe your own Santa Claus from your own upbringing and stuff. But in my head, I'm thinking Shaq. I'm like, that's so freaking cool. I love Shaq. I think Shaq's awesome. I love watching him play basketball. I think he's just a great person. And that's one reason I wanted to put him in the book. I was just like, or in my head, I put him in Santa Claus in the book. But in the book, I don't even mention that. You only get that right here in the video. Let's see what else. Sorry, I just got back from the gym. Oh, boy. Oh, there's another character. Krampus. If you don't know who Krampus is, he's like the doppelganger to Santa Claus from German mythology. You know, he's in there as well. And that's about it. That's all the characters in the book that you need to know about. I mean, there's some other random people, but they don't really matter. Now, the cat. The cat loves my chair. The cat's always in here. It's kind of like an actual fight with the cat to get the chair, because the cat will come in here in my room and just sit in the chair all day long. And when I try to move the cat, he'll start attacking me. You'll notice he was coming around here. It's like he wasn't happy about that, which is funny. So he thinks it's his chair. So when I try to pick him up and get him out of the chair, he starts like attacking me and fighting me, and like, you know, I mean, I'm just trying to sit down and make a video, and I got to fight a cat. All right, this has gone on too long. You know how I like to sit here and talk and ramble on. I hope you have a great day. Hope you're out there doing something productive. You know, it's getting closer to November here. This is October 28th, I think. Now, you're probably seeing this video after the fact. but just kind of give you an idea of where we're at in this timeline of getting everything out there. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching, and watch this. I'm going to nail the watch.